Okay, we got some SoCal people. Got Virginia, Colorado, Indianapolis, sweet. Long Beach. Uh, Super envious of all you SoCal people. I'm up in Central California. We're cooking right now. But yeah, I give like another, I'll say 30 seconds or so, then we'll get started. In the meantime, I'm gonna kind of introduce myself. My name is Eric. Um, I'm hosting this virtual discussion and workout with uh, Kyle Coon, who is joining here for the Paratriathlon team. Yeah, so in the meantime, if all the athletes like coming in, if you leave yourselves on mute, that'd be great. And if you click on the top right corner, you can put on active speaker. That way, whoever's talking, you can get a big picture of them versus like a bunch of little tiny pictures of everyone else. Yeah, if you do that, that'd be great. Also, all the adaptive athletes, if you make sure your name is correct in your description field, that way you get the full 10 points. So hopefully you can get a little bit closer to getting the Angel City swag. That'd be awesome. Yeah, also we have our whole medical staff here, which they're just phenomenal. So if you're feeling any, tweaks, pains, or you're just not feeling good, just say so in the chat, and I'm sure one of them will jump in and help you out, message you privately. Yeah, cool. So I think that's kind of all the housekeeping we have. If yeah, so to start us off, I'd like to welcome everyone to our Team USA training and tactics session with our Paralympian Kyle Coon. Kyle Coon is a new member of the Paratriathlon team headed to Tokyo, which is awesome. Yeah, so in this session of the Angel City Summer Series brought to you by the Hartford, yeah, we're gonna get to go with Kyle through some exercises, some mobility stuff, like he said, and we're gonna hear about his story. It's gonna be awesome. But before we get into that, I'd like to kind of take a moment to thank all of our sponsors that made this possible. So a huge thank you to the Hartford. They're our presenting sponsor for the Angel City Summer Series, as well as the Michaelman and Robinson LLP, along with the sports sponsors, the Hanger Clinic, Fox Sports, and Gold Meets Golden, and also all of you that you guys coming out tonight make this possible. I'd also like to thank Kyle for taking time out of his super busy training schedule to come talk to us. This is super exciting. Yeah, so Kyle's heading off to his first Paralympic Games. Kyle lost his eyesight at 6 and went on to become an adventure athlete. He was a member of the first team of blind cyclists to complete the race across America, and the first totally blind athlete to do an Ironman in under 11 hours. He now lives at the Olympic and Paralympic Training Center, and he has written a book titled Discovering a Life Without Limits, which is super rad. Yeah, so hey, Kyle, thanks for being here with us. I'm going to pass it on over to you and let you take it away.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Eric, for that introduction, and thank you to Angel City Sports for inviting me and letting me join in and just share a little bit about my story, my journey, and lead you guys through a little just a little bit of mobility work and stuff to get you grooving, get you moving. But first, we'll just start right from the top. As Eric said, I lost my sight when I was 6 years old, I had a rare form of eye cancer called retinoblastoma. Caused me to lose my left eye when I was 5 years old and my right eye when I was 6. And I went on from there. I mean, as a lot of you can probably understand or relate, it was hard being a newly blind little kid, and all I wanted to do was just go outside, play with my friends. And I was really fortunate enough that I got to get connected and meet with a gentleman named Eric Weinmeier, who eventually went on to become a very famous mountaineer. Climb Mount Everest and the seven summits and all that. So he was a huge mentor of mine, and just really encouraged me to not let my blindness get in the way of what I wanted to do. So he encouraged me to go out and try rock climbing, and I did, fell in love with that sport, and that spurred on to a whole lot of other just adventure type activities. I rock climbed competitively for a number of years, got into downhill skiing, recreational tandem cycling, wound up wrestling in both high school and college. And then eventually after graduating from college, I went on, to find my to find my way into the sport of triathlon and ultimately ultra endurance sports as well. But started in triathlon in 2015, and took a few years to kind of find my groove and find my way in this sport. But then in 2018, started to really make some waves in the sport, and was recruited to come live at the Olympic and Paralympic Training Center. So I moved here to Colorado Springs at the beginning of 2019, and I've been training basically full time since then, with the goal of making it to Tokyo. And last week got the call, and officially had punched my ticket to Tokyo. But yeah, for those of you that don't know entirely, triathlon is a swim, bike, run event. And at the Paralympic level, we our triathlon race that we participate in is a 750 meter swim, a 20-kilometer bike, and a 5-kilometer run. And we do that back to back to back. It's all one event. So it's pretty awesome. So as Eric had said at the beginning, it's a lot of training. It's pretty busy, but for the most part, it's just an absolute ton of fun. And yeah, no, so we're just gearing up, getting ready for the games coming up in just over a month. So, but you guys could listen to me prattle on and talk forever. I don't want to get you so bored that you fall asleep. So I figured let's go ahead and just knock out some basic some mobility stuff. A lot of the stuff, a lot of the stuff that I actually do, for myself. I do this a lot in the mornings before swim. I do this as part of my my warm-up routines when we're going into a strength workout or something like that. So what we'll do is I will adjust my camera here, so we will shift it this way so that I have a little bit more room and I'm not doing exercises in a straight back chair. So if you guys want to join me, what we'll do is we'll just get up onto our feet. I want you to just give me a couple of shoulder rolls forward and then backward, just loosening up that, those shoulders, that upper back, that chest. And then what we're going to do, we're going to take our left arm and we're going to give it a big swinging circles. I want you to give me 10 forward circles on that left arm. And then we're going to go backwards with that left arm. Big circles. Just loosening up the shoulder, loosening up the upper back, loosening up the chest. And we're going to do the same on the right arm. 10 big circles forward. Ooh, my collarbone's cracking a little bit. I don't know if you guys can hear that in my headphones. And then 10 circles backward. Now the fun thing, we're going to do them both arms together, big circles forward. And 10 circles back. Yeah, just like Eric said, if you guys have any questions, do our best to answer them along the way. Just drop them in the chat. All right, guys. Now that the shoulders are getting nice and loose, what we're gonna do, I just want you to give me 10 good squats. Let's have feet about hip width apart. And we're gonna bring our hips down, keeping our knees just over our toes. Imagine you got a ball right between your knees, bringing your hips down just a little bit to about a 90-degree angle. And then we come back up. Give me 5 good squats. Up and down. 3, 4, 5. Don't mind, that's just my roommate. He's 3-time Paralympian Chris Hammer. Heading out. He's one of my Paratriathlon teammates. Will be joining me in Tokyo. Give me a couple more good squats. All right. Now, bring your feet just a little bit closer together, about hip width apart. Give me 10 good calf raises. So you're going to come up out on the balls of your feet and let your feet down back to the heels. I like to put my hands on my hips. 3, 4. Feel this in the backs of your calves. 10. All right, now let's go back to giving me 5 good squats. 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to be moving into some groundwork here in just a hot second. Our seated athletes are going to be much more inclined to join us once we get to a couple of the floor exercises. Give me a few good calf raises. All right, you guys. Now we're going to take it down to the floor. So one of the things that I have actually struggled with in the past is low back pain, and I've actually had some low back injuries in the past. So one of the things that I like to do, instead of doing your traditional push-ups, I like to do what are basically called press-ups. So laying flat on the floor, going to bring your hands to right under your shoulders. Feet are straight out behind you. And we're going to press our bodies up, just the upper body up. Hips are still on the floor. Pull your shoulders down and back. And then we're going to lower our chest back to the floor. press your body back up. Give me just 10 of these. You'll feel this a little bit in your low back. This is just strengthening the low back, a little bit of strengthening in the shoulders, a little bit of strengthening in the chest. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right. Now, we're going to lay flat on the floor, face toward the floor. We're going to stick our arms straight up over our heads, thumbs pointing toward the ceiling. And all we're going to do is we're going to lift our hands and our arms off the floor just about 2 inches, and then let them back down. This is called an I. So your body basically makes the form of an I. So thumbs are pointing up toward the ceiling, palms are facing each other. Just lift your arms straight up and back down. We're just going to do this 5 times. 3, 4, 5. Now I want you to spread your arms just a little bit so that your body now makes a Y form. So your arms, thumbs pointing up toward the ceiling. Your head is the middle of the Y. It's probably about a 45-degree angle out from your shoulders. And we're just going to lift our arms up about 2 inches off the floor. 1 to 2 inches. You're going to feel this in your shoulders, in your rotator cuffs. Promotes a lot of good rotator cuff strength. I do this just about every single day. We swim a lot. I swim about 5 days a week. So really need to get a lot of shoulder strength working there. All right. Now we're going to spread our arms out, palms facing the floor. We're going to make a T form with our bodies. So arms straight out to either side. And you're going to pinch your shoulder blades together, lifting your arms up as you pinch your shoulder blades and let them back down. Just looking for a couple of inches off the floor. This is not a big movement. Maybe about 5 to 10 of them. Okay, now your arms are out. Thank you for that. Thank you for that, Mitchell, as well. Yeah, draw the shoulder blades down, keeping the back and the shoulder blades engaged. Now, as your arms are out in this T, I want you to bend your arms at a 90-degree angle. Now your body is basically making a W form with your palms facing the floor, elbows are on the floor, forearms are on the floor. And we're going to do the same thing that we did with that T. Draw the shoulder blades down, pinch them together, lift the arms. You're lifting the entire arm, still holding that W form. Up and down, up and down. Give me 5 more. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, you guys. Those are just a few basic shoulder exercises. Exactly. So seated athletes, you can do the exact same movements. So if you're seated in a chair, you can do these same movements by leaning forward, bringing your chest as close down to your knees as you can, stretching your arms out in front of you, pulling those shoulder blades down and back, up and down to that Y, to the T, and the W. So these are just the basics, some super basic shoulder exercises, some squat variations, some press up variations. seated athletes. Some other ways you can get, your shoulders, your chest, your triceps engaged. Place your hands on the arms of your chairs and just press yourself up a little bit. You don't have to lift yourself completely out of the chair. Lots and lots of great adaptations. But guys, these are super, super basic, but super basic, but super, super effective. I personally use these types of exercises, really, guys, just about every day. So, so I wanted to, just walk you guys through, why these, exercises are so important for me, because a lot of these are what we call prehab exercises. So they strengthen these little tiny muscles that will give out in triathlon. So for me, like I mentioned, I swim 5 days a week. So I'm usually in the pool by about 9 o'clock in the morning, out of the pool by 11 o'clock in the morning. And then we usually go straight into usually a bike ride or a run. And that's usually about a 2 to 3 hour endeavor. And then on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, we're in the gym doing strength training. Tuesdays and Thursdays, we usually don't have strength training, but we throw in an extra bike or an extra run. I know one of the questions that got dropped into the chat was, how often do I train with my guide? Who is my guide? I'm guided by a gentleman named. Ooh, so many questions. So my guide is a gentleman named Andy Potts. He was a 2004 Olympian in the sport of triathlon, very, very well known in the Ironman triathlon space. And we usually try to train about once or twice a week together, usually once out on the bike, once out on the run. As we get closer and closer to the games, we'll definitely be training more and more together. As far as transition practice, so for those of you that aren't familiar, we go from swim to bike to run, and between the swim and the bike and the run, we have what are called transitions. So I practice. There's a lot of little things that you can do practicing transitions. Transition is just about being smooth and efficient. So for me and Andy, what we'll do is we usually practice our bike to run transition every time that we ride outside on the bike, and we will practice our swim to bike transition, or at least parts of it, every single bike and run. Like we'll start out, we'll clip our shoes into the pedals on the bike, and we'll start out with running in our bare feet or our socked feet, and jumping onto the bike and pedaling and practicing getting our feet into our shoes and such. And then we will also do the same thing for our bike to run transitions. But so some of the unique adaptations for blind and visually impaired triathlon is on the swim. I swim, our race is in open water. So my guide I like to have on my left-hand side, and we use a tether, which is a bungee cord that wraps around my upper thigh and wraps around my guide's upper thigh, and we swim side by side. And the tether is 80 centimeters long, so about 31 inches long. And to give me directions, my guide will tap one of my shoulders, so it gives me a double tap on the left shoulder for a left-hand turn. Reaches over, gives me a double tap on the right shoulder for a right-hand turn, et cetera, et cetera. So we try to keep it pretty basic. Come out of the water. Usually what we do is my guide will rip. He'll he'll rip the tether down his thigh, jump over to my right side because I typically run better with my guide on my right. We run through transition. We ride a custom built tandem bike, and we do we start with our shoes clipped into the bike. As I mentioned, when we were talking about transitions earlier, you run with the bike to the mountain line, you jump onto the bike, get your feet into your shoes, start pedaling, and then obviously we ride for that 20 kilometers. Come off the bike, slip your feet out of your shoes, jump off the bike while it's still moving. Granted, much slower, and run through transition. Pull your running shoes on. We typically run sockless because it's significantly faster in transition. And then I use a waist running tether. So I have a tether that wraps around my waist, and then a little nylon strap that stretches between myself and my guide. And I like to run with my guide on my right, and he's given me constant instructions on turning left, turning right, stepping up, stepping down, et cetera, et cetera. But I believe we just had a question asking, how do I know that my training is going in the right direction? At the end of the day, look, yeah, it's all about race. It's all about race day. We do have certain sets in training that we'll do. So, for example, tomorrow during our swim, we have a test set where we'll swim 16 by 100 meters on a 2-minute interval. And we shoot for certain times in the pool. We also do a lot of race day simulation stuff where we'll be on the bike trainer trying to hit certain power numbers for set durations of time, and then we come off the bike and we'll do a timed run on the treadmill. Stuff like that. So it's there's a delicate balance though, between fatigue and trying to make sure that all of that you're getting enough calorie intake, that you're getting the right calorie intake, and then for me, one of the things that's a big indicator for me that my training is going in the right direction is that I sleep extremely well when I'm training well. So at the end of a long day, if I can hit the hay at 8:30 or 9 o'clock and not wake up until 5:30 or 6 o'clock the next day, I know that my training is going really, really good. If I'm waking up every couple of hours throughout the night, then I know something's a little off. In terms of like muscle soreness and all that, I'll go ahead and admit I'm pretty sore most of the time. I do about 20 to 25 active hours of training a week. So it's a lot. But we use a lot of tools like foam rollers and electrical stimulation units. We also, living here at the Olympic and Paralympic Training Center, we have access to massage therapists and a wonderful sports medicine clinic where we can go and reap the benefits of that. So there's self-care is a huge thing. Yeah, Eric, we can actually sorry, we're good. The chat is just exploding there. I love it. But yeah, Josh, I think you just asked the question of what advice do I have for people that are getting ready to run their first 5K next month. My biggest piece of advice is be consistent. Even if you get out and move every single day, you don't necessarily have to have a world-class training plan. The biggest thing for me is just get out every day and move, whether that is, walking for 10 minutes a day, walking, running for 1 minute, walking for 1 minute, alternating that. My biggest piece of advice is just move every single day and develop a consistent schedule. That more than anything, I think, is going to allow you to get from the start line to the finish line of your first 5K. And that's that. I mean, that's the mantra that I live by, is just move every single day, and it'll get you across more finish lines than you can ever imagine.
Awesome. So I had a question, Kyle.
Yeah.
Of the three, the swim, bike, and run, which one is your favorite and which one's your least favorite?
Whew, man. So I don't really have it's hard to say which is my favorite, because I love cycling, I love running. If I had to pick my least favorite, I would say swimming, just because it's the one that I've done the least amount of over the course of my life. While I grew up in Florida, I knew how not to drown, but knowing how not to drown and then swimming, for competition are two very, very different things. So I only learned to swim just before I did my first triathlon. So just before I did my first triathlon in 2015 was when I learned how to actually do a proper freestyle stroke, and learn to actually swim. So, but after 6 years of hard, dedicated training, I have definitely improved very greatly. So I don't think that I'm particularly strong or fast at any of the three disciplines individually. One of my favorite sayings when it comes to triathlon is triathlon, why stink at one sport when you can stink at all three? So that's kind of triathlon it's a puzzle. Triathlon is this great thing where you can you don't have to be the fastest swimmer, you don't have to be the fastest cyclist, you don't have to be the fastest runner. You just have to be you just have to put all three of those disciplines together, one after the other, and that's what makes triathlon so special.
Yeah, definitely. And it's definitely, what makes triathlon like so much fun to watch is the back and forth when people hit their strengths and their weaknesses. So we got a bunch of questions here. So the Team USA, the Paratriathlon team, do you guys train together, even though you're like different classifications?
So we have, we have 17 people on that were named to the Paralympic Triathlon team that are going to Tokyo. I would say, I think 7 or 8 of us are here at the training center. So yes, we do train together. We all do our swim workouts together. We'll occasionally do, if we're on our bike trainers and treadmills, we'll do like our bike and our run workouts together. We often like to, when we have the opportunity for our easy recovery rides or recovery spins, we like to get outside and go for what are called coffee rides together. So we those are just super chill, soft pedaling, where we can just talk and chat amongst each other, and then stop off, grab a cup of coffee or an espresso or something. So we try to train together as often as we can. I think next week we're going to have some additional people coming in for a few weeks leading into the games. But no, for the most part, we all like to train together as much as possible, especially in the pool. it's, but yeah, no. And, one of my teammates, Haley Dans, and I, and then, our other teammate, Kendall Gretsch, we're, the three of us are in three completely different, paratriathlon sport classes, but we all three swim pretty similar paces, especially when it comes, to the pool. And so we push each other very hard to elevate each other's games. And then, when it comes to cycling or running, one of my teammates, Jamie Brown, and I, he's a below the knee amputee. He and I are pretty, we're pretty equal on the bike and on the run. So we also push each other, to all new levels. So we all learn from each other, despite our various our various disabilities or impairments. So it's great to be surrounded just by awesome teammates that push us day in, day out.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and speaking of teammates, we have a question here about you and your guides' communication in the swim. So is it all like the tapping, or do you communicate other ways if you're like drifting way off course?
If we're drifting way off course, my guide will he'll tap my head or grab me by the neck and like pull me up, and but for the most part, it's a lot of nonverbal communication. So at early on in my triathlon career, if my guide needed to talk to me, I told them like, hey, just tap my head a series of times, and that that lets me know that I need to pop my head up out of the water and we need to have a quick chat. For the at the Paralympic level, 750 meter swim, we're swimming that in 11 to 12 minutes, and the course is usually marked really well. So and our guides are so strong, and such good swimmers that they usually keep us on course pretty darn well. So there is a lot of trust. I put my trust in my guides' hands, and I'm trusting them that they're gonna keep me on course. But yeah, for the most part, it's mostly nonverbal. I have known some guides that will try to shout directions as well as giving nonverbal cues. That never worked for me because my ears just get filled with water when I'm trying to swim really hard.
Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, we got a bunch of like laughs from the grab you by the neck and move you, and which is pretty good.
Yeah, I think I think it was my first Ironman or one of my first triathlons. I was swimming, and yeah, I was just going all over the place, and my guide literally just reached over and grabbed me by the neck of the wetsuit and just yanked me back on course. Unfortunately, in the at the at the Paralympic level, you're not allowed to. Your guide isn't allowed to do that, but yeah, no, we've had some funny things go down in the swim, and just in triathlon in general.
Yeah, definitely. So kind of taking it back to like your early career and when you're just starting out, like what made you choose triathlon after doing all the things you've done before?
Sure. So trying to think. So when I graduated from college, I actually spent a year looking for a job, and I could not find employment. And I don't know what it was that made me wake up one day. I was, over the course of that year, I had gained a significant amount of weight. I was not living a very healthy lifestyle. And one day I woke up and I was like, I need to make a serious change. And so I didn't have very much money. I didn't have money to join a gym. I didn't have money to buy a treadmill. I didn't have money to buy a stationary bike or anything like that. So I hopped online and, was trying to figure out what can I do that'll let me be active, and stumbled across a website that partnered blind athletes with guides. There were two guides that were listed in my area. I sent them both an email. One of them responded, and that guy that responded happened to be a triathlete. So he and I met up one day and started just running together. I just wanted to get out and run and move, just to get out of the house and be distracted from not having a job. And he was training for, I think at the time it was his 9th or 10th Ironman. And, as I just continued running with him, just hearing him talk about, triathlon and putting swim, bike, run together, it just kept sounding more and more interesting and like more and more fun. And eventually he, I joke that he basically peer pressured me enough to give it a try. And he taught me how to swim. We got hold of my tandem bike, and we started riding together in addition to our running. And I went and completed my first triathlon, and just fell in love with it. And I was just like, man, I think I would get too bored being a single sport athlete. So that was kind of the evolution of it, and it's just been nonstop ever since.
Oh, that's awesome. So one final question, and then we'll kind of wrap stuff up. How do you keep yourself motivated on those days when you're just not feeling well or feeling like going out and training?
Oh man. So, motivation is really interesting. I think I am motivated by sticking to a disciplined schedule. So one of the things that I do, I'm not gonna lie, there's a lot of days when I wake up and I'm 29 years old. There's a lot of days when I wake up and I'm like, am I really 29? I feel like I'm 92. I'm creaky. I'm achy. Like I don't want to get out of bed. But then I think back to during the times in my life when I didn't have this great opportunity to basically have a profession as a triathlete, doing something that I really love. And so motivation is basically what it means is it's a reason to move. And finding your why. And for me, I love moving. I love being active. I love pushing myself, physically and mentally to the ends. I love finding that edge. And it's just a matter of how good can I be? How hard can I push myself? Can I find that edge of where I'm no longer improving? And that's what keeps me going. And there's a lot of people out there that have supported me in pursuing my dreams, and I don't want to let them down either. But more importantly, it's just finding all the reasons why I want to do this sport and why I want to be a competitive athlete, and just remembering those And that's the kind of stuff that, even though even though I might be a little sore, a little achy, feeling 2 to 3 times my age, I roll out of bed, I get up, I make my bed. It's the first thing I do, and then it's off to training. And it's just doing that consistently, day in, day out. And it's really amazing what just a steady, consistent schedule can give you. I think that's what motivates me, at least. And I definitely encourage people to, just stick to a schedule, and you'll find a lot of things fall into place that way.
Yeah, I couldn't say it better myself, Kyle. That's awesome to hear. Yeah, so thanks everyone that came out. And again, thanks to our awesome medical volunteers. Yeah, I'd like to say thank you to, again, all our sponsors, Michaelman and Robinson, LLP, Fox Sports, the Hanger Clinic, Gold Meets Golden, and of course, the Hartford. And massive, most of all, thanks, Kyle. You've been awesome. Make sure to go follow Kyle on Instagram. I'm going to drop his Instagram handle in the chat. You can follow him all the way through Tokyo and beyond. And then, go check out his book, Discovering a Life Without Limits. So again, I'm super appreciative of everyone coming out, appreciative of Kyle. Coming up, we have our swim session with Mallory Wegman, and then the 5K training boost, which will begin at 7 p.m. Pacific time tonight. And then on Saturday at 4 p.m., we will play Survey Says, which will be in an Olympic and Paralympic themed version of Family Feud. So please join us and stay updated with everything going on via email and socials. And thanks everyone.
Thanks again, Kyle.